This is the Brightbox 2 wireless router. This is the one that EE have been telling me for over a year they could not send me. That was absolutely impossible for them to send it to me because I was an ADSL customer. Well, guess what they did? They sent me one. I had lots of problems with my line, dropping out and have various router problems. They've sent me about 9 or 10 Brightbox 1s. So a very nice man called John said, I'll send you one. I don't care what they say, I'm going to send you one. So after being told and bluffed for over a year they couldn't send me one, here it is. So, first thing I want to do, I'm sure you're in all the sales nonsense on the box. Yeah, plug and play, fastest Wi-Fi connection, 802.11n AC, yeah. Intelligent wireless, really? Okay. So, let's get the box open. Ah, here we go. Say hello to Brilliant Broadband. Well, yeah, I won't comment on that. It's pretty good, but yeah, no comment. Here is the Brightbox 2. I wanted to do this review and unboxing and teardown and investigation series last year, but of course, as I said before, EE refused to send me one, so they've now sent me one. So, take the cardboard surround off. You've got the Brightbox 2 itself with a lovely garish cyan EE logo on it. Plug me in once we've told you your broadband is ready. My broadband's already ready, thank you. There's a box down there, a Brightbox, which is doing my broadband at the moment. Very messy guys, sorry about that. So, on the front you have power, broadband, internet, wireless, intelligent wireless lights. I'll show those in a minute. On the back you've got your, when the camera actually focuses, I'll put it in the box and show you. When the camera, you've got the DSL port. Yes guys, that's DSL. That is the DSL port that the EE customer service people tell you is not compatible with this router because it's a fibre only router. Well, what do they know? They're salespeople. This is a DSL compatible router. Yes, it's fibre for fibre customers. It's got a WAN port there for your fibre, and a gigabit, 1 gigabit port 4, 321R, 100 megabit port. But it is DSL compatible. No matter what anyone at EE tells you, this router is compatible with ADSL. If you go on the Arcadian website, the manufacturer Arcadian, it tells you it's DSL compatible. I know people have actually got them on their DSL line, so it is DSL compatible. And the back, here's your label. Obviously you won't see all that because I'm going to block it out. Model name, Brightbox 2 wireless router. Now you get a little stand with it as well, which clips in the back somewhere, somehow. I'm not going to clip it in just yet. These two tabs here go in these slots in the back, I would think. Yeah, that's right. Then you push that down and it locks. That clips in place, but not going to do that just yet because I've got to take it apart. You get all the usual stuff with it. You get an ADSL cable. You get a cheap and cheerful Ethernet cable. It's not too cheap and cheerful, it's okay, but not the highest quality. Get two. Here's the point here, guys. You get two ADSL microfilters. Well, they're not so micro, they're quite big, but this was the point I'm making. This is a DSL compatible router. Otherwise, why would they package it with two ADSL routers? Sorry, filters. They wouldn't, would they? So they're talking nonsense. So, power socket, which is 12 volts, 1500 milliamps. There we go, 12 volts, 1500 milliamps DC. And you obviously get the latch-in UK portion here, which slides in. Let's do that now. Which way up is it? That way up. Okay. So, my big hand out the way. It says click, you see? Slide in. Yeah, and very loud clunk. Click. So, yeah, so I'll start again. DSL port. You've got three normal 100 Ethernet ports. 1, 2, 3. You've got gigabit E LAN port, a WAN port, which is where you plug in your fibre, a reset button, an on-off switch, and the power input jack for this thing. There's your power. So my next trick is to get this thing apart and see what's inside it, because no one else seems to have done this yet on YouTube, so I'm going to be the first one to take it apart, I think. So that is the Brightbox 2 router, which has been out since October, I think, so about 9 months, and I've only just got one. So thank you, EE. Thank you, John at EE, for being so kind and understanding and sending me one, even though it was, quote, physically impossible. Okay, so I'm now going to take it apart, which looks like it's Torx screws. Yeah, that's a Torx screw. So I'll come back in a minute once it's apart. So there's 4 screws in this box. What you've got to do, here they are. The Torx, they are Torx. Taking my screwdriver. T9. There we go. Torx T9. I don't know if you can see that there. Probably not, because the camera won't focus. The Torx T9 screws. Anyway, there's one there at the top, and there's 2. There's rubber feet underneath. There's 2 rubber feet underneath the router. So you pull those up with your thumbnail or other suitable tool, and you'll see under those there's 2 more Torx T9 screws. So I'll take those out and I'm back soon. Neglected to mention last time, there's a USB port on the left hand side of the Brightbox 2. So it's very bright, sorry. Well, it is a bright box after all. There's a very bright USB, I think it's a USB 2 port there, for plugging in USB memory sticks, hard drives, etc. Maybe printers, I don't know yet, I haven't got that far. So when opening this box up, what you do, you get a credit card and put it in next to the USB port and angle it this way. So the card's facing down, you're pushing the corner up towards the back, that way, up that way, and ease it around the edge and it will pop open. So do that and come back. So basically what you've got to do is make sure the card, I'll show you carefully, the card is going to, you put it in the gap there, the seam, and angle it upwards very slightly, and just confidently but not too hard, just at this sort of angle, the card at that sort of shallow incline. What I'm trying to say is have the card up like that, so it's pushing upwards, but also make sure the card's at this sort of angle towards the box, and run it around the edge and it should pop open. So there we go, we've got a Brightbox 2 EE Brightbox 2 router open, no damaged clips at all. It's quite well, not difficult, but it's quite a fiddle to get open. So I'll show you how to attack it. On the bottom, you've got these 2 tabs here, and they interlock with these 2 ratchet, these 2 plastic pawls here. One here, one here. And they're basically mirrored at the top as well, and at the sides. You see these things with 3 struts above them. They're the bits. These are the sort of hooks that these little tabs latch on. These hooks latch onto those little plastic tabs. So you've got 2 tabs at the bottom, 2 tabs at each side. Obviously you've got 2 at the top, as I'm sure you could predict that was coming. There's your Wi-Fi WPS button, I think. Yeah, I think that's WPS. And you've got 2 at the other side. So what I actually did, I used the Keep Me card. I actually used 2 of these. I've got another one there, spare one, to open these tabs. Let's put the lid back on. Not right on, just show you what to do. So I'll leave the lid off at this angle so you can see. When the back sort of clamshell is done, hooked in, you want to get the credit card in there and run it along inside here, like that. Imagine this lid is down on top, like that. You run the card up, not too deep, don't press too deep, just press in about that deep I suppose, and disengage those latches from those plastic tabs, and then once you've got one side open, put a card in it and jam it in like that to hold it open. Don't ever use metal tools, use plastic, otherwise you'll scratch the bright box too. Yes, just run that along and disengage those latches, then put that in place, that card. So now you know where to put it, there, and put it between the latches and the tabs so it holds it open, and then work your way around the rest of the sides, top and the other sides. Be careful, but don't be too careful. Don't be scared of it. It's not going to break very easily. Just be careful you don't break those tabs off. Then it'll come open. So I'll take some photos of the inside of the back casing where the tabs are to show you later on. There's your 2 tabs. Well, you've got 8 tabs. You've got, like I said before, you've got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 at the bottom. Well, so the latches. The hooks, these things here, 1 and 2, and they also correspond obviously to the tabs, like I said. So next thing is some hardware diagnosis. I'm going to give this thing a look over. The USB socket on the left here. This is the first time I've seen inside it and had a proper look, so I don't quite know what's in here yet. That's some sort of RF shielding can there. That's an ADSL isolation transformer. Choke, suppression and protection there. WPS button now, I think, at the top. Now this heatsink under here, I would think is cooling the Broadcom system on chip. I presume it's a Broadcom. It's quite a big heatsink, you can't really see underneath. I don't want to pull it off yet. I know there's some sort of RAM or flash there. I presume that's RAM. I don't actually know. That Etron Tech chip there. Let's take the board out and have a look at the other side. Oh, nothing exciting at all. Just a load of surface mount resistors and capacitors and chokes. And you've got the 4 status LEDs here. If that's any use to you at all, there's a barcode there. I won't show the other barcode because it's got my serial number on it. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier than the Brightbox 1. I mean, it's not massively heavier, but it's a bit heavier. So that goes back in this way around. So I've got to now find the. I'm going to try and find the serial port for COM port debugging. It looks like it's quite strange. This you've got 2 rather unsightly solder blobs here. Someone obviously has tried to do an antenna test in the factory, or to attach some sort of a test antenna. You've got the AC Wi-Fi antennas. So these are strip line technology formed PCB. Basically, they've etched the PCB in the shape of an antenna. One there, one there, one there, and one there. So yeah, that's what they've done there. They've formed antennas out of the PCB, which is common practice, very novel. Okay, so now get the magnifying glass out and see what these chips are. Unless you can see it without, actually you can probably see it without the magnifying glass. Well, there's that's an Atmel chip, is it Atmel? No, it's not. I don't know what that is. There's a chip down there. Let me try and get this lens working because the flash is on at the same time. Excuse my squeaking chair. So, the light's not coming through properly here. The light from the flash on this camera is very close to the lens, so getting a magnifying loop in front of the lens is quite tricky. I'll take some photos. There's a chip there, which is, let me spin this round. It says what does that say? Let me try and get my lamp a bit closer. What does that say on there? Back in a sec, guys. Flash is off now. Let's get some proper part numbers. Ah, right. So that is a BCM what's that? BCM 6302. A Broadcom chip of some sort. Down here at the bottom, this chip says IT7803M. This chip here, next to the crystal here, says, spin it round, B for Bravo 50612 Echo. Okay. This chip here, this RAM or flash chip, whatever it is, put it in the light actually. You can see that. One thing I have noticed, which is very interesting, is the serial port for COM port debugging. It is just here. You see it numbered down. Let's spin it round so you can see it properly. It goes from right to left. It's that little 4-pin solder pads here. 1, 2, 3. It's not marked, but that's ground. 4. So I want to have a probe of that and see what comes out of there. So that's the serial port. It's got to be, because it's the same. It's marked the same way, and it's the same number of pins as the bright box. So it's only header that's visible. I can only imagine that is the serial port. In fact, what I'm going to do now is going to probe with my meter. So I've got my multimeter here. The ground is on ground on the shielding can, and the positive lead is on one of those, on the first pin of that 4-pin header I showed you. As you can see, my multimeter is 3.3 volts. So it is the serial port. So what I'm doing now is connect my COM port adapter onto my Ubuntu PC and see what comes out of the boot log. To categorically confirm that pin header on the Brightbox 2 definitely is the serial port. If I look at my first post on the screen I made about 2.5 years ago, you see the pin header marked here. It says 1 not connected, 2, 3, 4 unlabelled ground. So if you look at here, 1 apparently not connected on the Brightbox 1, but I haven't looked at it yet on the serial port. 2, 3, 4. Now if you look at 4 under a magnifying glass, it's unmarked, and you can see the little you can see it's attached to the ground plane, so that is the ground. So it appears they're using the same layout as on the Brightbox 1, apart from the numbering's back to front upside down, but it's the same pin out for the header. Okay folks, I can categorically tell you that is the debug port. I've got my COM port probe here. This is, I've got the white, which is RX into the PC, and the black, which is ground. The middle one is TX, but I'm not actually going to connect that yet. That's a blue wire. I'm not going to connect that just yet. I've got the TX and the ground pin connected to the router. So for the first time on camera,